That's right, folks. We're back with the Batmaning of, and this time we're diving into the third pillar of DC. The other part of the Trinity kind of gets overlooked, but she's still very important. That's right, we're talking Wonder Woman today. Let's get into it. Again, like I say with almost every character we talk about on this show, I knew I had to talk about Wonder Woman. I think, and I can't confirm this, I don't know why I said I can't confirm this, but I think Wonder Woman is one of the most important characters in all of comic books, maybe in all of literacy and media, because what she represents is pretty much Superman for a specific audience. And look, I don't want to generalize Wonder Woman like that, because she is for everyone. But if you are a young woman, seeing Wonder Woman is like seeing one of the most important things in your life. It's a character to aspire to be, who can affect you and move you in ways you didn't think possible. And that's amazing. To be the most influential and important female comic book character is something amazing and shouldn't be understated. It's impressive, it's important, it's impactful. And that's something Wonder Woman herself should represent in any story she's a part of. Diana is a very interesting character. She is almost a chameleon in the sense where you could kind of tell any story with her, where she could have a funny comedy or a dramatic story. She could, do the Clash of the Titans kind of arc where she's fighting these gods, or a very intense political thriller. And all of it works perfectly for her, because at the center of all of those stories is a woman who is trying to emulate the best in herself and the best of what humanity can be. Wonder Woman is an agent of peace. She's always trying to solve problems and figure them out so there's no conflict needed. She is an ambassador for peace. That is what she is about. She isn't like Bruce or Clark in the sense that there is like hope behind her. She's like, this is the truth. We have to solve it this way. Get it done in specific guidelines, because that is the way things need to be done. It might not be pretty, but this is the way things are resolved. And I think that's kind of why some people can get used to the idea of Wonder Woman being like a killer or killing people, more so than people like Batman and Superman. Look, personal standpoint, I don't think Wonder Woman should kill people. It doesn't work for a character. It's not what she's about. If she's on the Trinity, she is one of the best of the best, and she should be treated as the best of the best. She is a good person who wants to help you solve a problem, as opposed to just cutting the head off a creature. To end it, she will find them new ways to live, new ways to think. That's important to me. She is an ambassador. She is a negotiator. She is going to solve problems in a manner befitting a woman of her importance. And that's something that I love to see. That's something that should be emulated more, be talked about more. She isn't just, a Greek goddess stand-in. She's a woman who wants to find humanity, because she's the outsider coming to this planet in the same way that Superman was. When Diana comes to this planet and comes to man's world, she is looking at it through these wondrous eyes, like, look at the best that we can do. Look at all this stuff. It isn't pretty sometimes. And maybe she doesn't look for the best in people, but she's like, I know what needs to be done. This is what we should fight for. This is what we should strive to accomplish. That's something that is very beautiful and shouldn't be understated. This is a character who fights for the truth, who fights for peace, who will do everything in her power to make those things powerful and make those things matter. That's really cool. And to have that character be one of the best pillars of your comic book company is super impressive. And again, if you want a Dark Diana story, there are Dark Diana stories. If you want a comedy, there are comedy stories for Diana. Because something I personally believe, and I know this could be understated by other writers, or maybe some people wouldn't think the same as me, but I think there's a part of Diana, I should say, that's very intrinsically connected to this idea of bondage, BDSM, and submission. That is kind of how the character started out. She was this example of this woman who's always confounded and tied up in certain situations. And there's a symbol about that, like the submissive feature, but it's also about breaking free of those bonds and just be kind of like breaking out to being your own woman, being your own person, not just in terms of like physically being tied up by like the male antagonist you're fighting, but also like in society as a woman, it's about breaking free, being your own individual, being your own woman, not being confined to what the world thinks you should be. Diana represents that perfectly. She leaves her one world, finds another one, loves both of them. The males in her life are always trying to put her in a certain box, but she will never stay in that box. She will be whatever she needs to be. And yes, there is, of course, like the bondage stuff to it. And I think that's kind of, I don't want to say it's necessary, because it's not. I think it's just something that should be stated. It should be stated. Because it's Wonder Woman. That character has a history being connected to those sexual ideas. You should play with it a little bit. And some writers do that a little bit more. Some others just don't deal with it. I understand that completely. It's fine either way with me. But I'm just saying the character comes from those roots. You can't escape them. There's no shame in that. There's nothing to hide about that. It's just a part of her history. It's something intrinsically connected to the character. If you tie her up, there's a history involved with that too. That's just okay. It's very Barbarella in that setting, you know? Barbarella is one of my favorite fictional characters. It's very Barbarella, where this character represents love, peace, and hope in all these different ways, and can use their sexuality as a weapon in some regards. Does Diana do it as much as Barbarella? No, but there's some aspects where she can do that and use her peace and her charm to get certain ways done for her. And I think that's kind of cool and impressive when it's done appropriately, and it's done more appropriately than it's not. Sometimes it's not, but every character has their faults. That's just the key. Now, I like to talk about my connection to a character. Wonder Woman holds a special place in my heart. This is the character that I've always known about. I think more so than I've known about Superman or Batman or the DC universe in general. I always knew who Wonder Woman was, because I have family who collects comic books, and a lot of my family loved Wonder Woman. My mother in particular loved Wonder Woman. My grandpa in particular loved Wonder Woman. I always knew about this character. I always knew about the actress that played her. I was always aware of this character. So it just rang in my head like, Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. Yeah, I know this character. And every time I saw her, I'm like, that's the one I like. I like seeing that. When I start a new action figure line, I always look for the Wonder Woman figures first, because those are the ones I want to have, you know? I think that's just a really cool thing, that this character, regardless of her gender, is figuring out how to connect herself to every type of audience, because I'm not the target audience for Wonder Woman sometimes, but every time I read a Wonder Woman comic, every time I see a Wonder Woman action figure or something with Wonder Woman on it, I think that's really cool and important, and it's just a really fun representation of that character. So I think more so than Batman or Superman, Wonder Woman has always resonated with me and is always a character I've stuck with. I don't always read her books, and I do like Superman a little bit more now that I'm a grown up. I still like Wonder Woman a lot. And that's why when I was coming up for how to make a Wonder Woman movie, I've really thought about this one, I think, more than any other one. How do you do this right? How do you capture the energy? And I think in order to talk about that, we have to look at the previous actors that have played Wonder Woman. Of course, we cannot do this without talking about Linda Carter, who set, I think, the gold standard for how you do this. Adam West obviously did it in the 60s. But Linda Carter, my God, what a beautiful woman who perfectly understood the assignment she was given. Is it dated at times? Yes, but this woman embodied this role. She is Wonder Woman to a whole generation, not my generation who grew up with another one, but this woman is that character. She embodied it. She made it work. She did it right. You felt the weight. You felt the power. You felt everything involved with that. And I absolutely 100% adore her for that. I am still a Linda Carter fan. I will watch anything she's a part of. She's the best part of certain things today. And my God, is she still pretty. I love her so much. But in the modern era, for my generation, mainly people younger than me, there is this thing with Gal Gadot. And I don't hate Gal in the slightest. Do I think she's a good actress? Not really. Do I think she's been in some weird movies? Yes. Do I like Wonder Woman 84 despite she rapes a guy? Kind of. I'm not excusing the rape. It's bad and weird and should not have happened. But I like what it's trying to homage with the Donner stuff. And that's kind of exciting. And I think that's less Gal than it is Patty. But that's fine too. But if I had to pick one, I'm obviously a Linda Carter fan. Of course I am. That's just what I grew up on. That's what I know when it comes to Wonder Woman. That's what she should be. I love it so much. Now, making a Wonder Woman film, a lot of it went to different directions. To me, there was a key thing you had to get across here. That is the political aspect of the character, because whether you like it or not, a huge part of Wonder Woman's history is politics. She's an ambassador for some people. She represents a whole other race of people that live on Earth. She's an important part of just connection and peace and those negotiations, and that's something I wanted to represent in my Wonder Woman film, is this political thriller thing. I was trying to think of the perfect political thriller to talk about. Is it Mr. Smith Goes to Washington? Is it more recent ones with that Jodie Foster one? I can't remember. I was trying to think of what's the right balance to find here, and instead I just went, it's more like 3 Days of the Condor. That's kind of what I want to go for, just this woman so connected to this one set of ideas that suddenly when things don't go her way, she has to fight through certain things. And I think that's going to be really fun. So the way that the Batman was like Chinatown, my Wonder Woman film is going to be like 3 Days of the Condor. Now when we're talking about that, like what's the vibe? What's the energy we're going to get from that? I wanted to find the right balance of everything. And that's hard to do because it can't be everything. I, for this, leaned a little bit more into just like the playful nature of the character. Because that's a thing I want to see more in media for young women, is this idea that you don't have to be hard-edged or tough in order to be respected in your field. And we're seeing that a lot more, especially in like young adult stories, but it's like we should see that with like the big character, because Wonder Woman is the biggest character in comic books for young women. She is. Let's see her have a smile on her face sometimes, not always being in love with a man. You know, these stories aren't always going to be about Steve Trevor and working with these people. It's just like, here she is, a part of this world now. So I wanted it to be kind of playful. I wanted it to be serious and like the political stuff it's talking about, and kind of have an effect on the real world. So when we're talking about Wonder Woman, here is my pitch for a Wonder Woman film, okay? I really like this pitch, actually. It's one of my favorite ones I've talked about. So we're starting off pretty young for Wonder Woman. More than any other actor or person I have cast in any of these movies, I wanted to find a younger Diana, because I wanted to show like she is still coming up in this world, but also she's an ancient being, so her age could be just more dependent on whatever you want it to be, so she could be older than anybody, but look younger than everybody at the same time. This Diana is new to man's world. She is still figuring things out, but she has built a name for herself. And she is working for the United Nations. She's a part of the UN. She's an ambassador going from different countries talking about peace and trying to resolve these conflicts in a peaceful manner. People idolize her. They see the power that her name holds. They're like, okay, we're willing to listen and negotiate to you. Let's see what you have to say. And while this is going on, there is this one man who sees her and is like, you are turning an image of what women should be that they shouldn't be. I don't like that. I'm going to get online and talk about it on my blog and make fun of you and have a whole army of incel little men who despise you and don't like you because of what you represent. Women shouldn't be in politics. Women shouldn't be powerful. I'm going to type that on my little blog here and ruin the Wonder Woman name. And that person is Dr. Psycho. Again, a lot of Wonder Woman movies before this have really focused on the Greek stuff. I'm not doing that. I want this to be like Dr. Psycho is just a vindictive little shit who's just like, look at this girl. She's just like polluting ideas, making people think I'm a bad person. Maybe in my story, they kind of like fought in the past. And now he's just like, I'm going to ruin your life. I'm going to make I'm going to slander your image. I'm going to go online, talk shit about you, ruin you, get all my little trolls online to talk crap about you too. That's just how we're going to get things done, Diana. While that's going on, he's also promoting his own superheroine, Giganta, because I love the dichotomy between Psycho and Giganta. It's not something that's explored often, but when it is, I think it's fun. And you see that Giganta is still kind of like, what am I doing here? Why am I attached to this guy? And again, that's where you play into this idea of breaking her bondage from her connection to Psycho to become her own individual. Still not a good person, but she is still breaking free of a man controlling her. As if Diana did on Themyscira. When she found Steve, she broke free of him, and now she's doing her own identity in the world, doing her own thing. Giganta's story is going to emulate that with the Psycho stuff, while little incel little man is just screwing everything up and ruining people's lives. I love this so much because it's got the politics, it's got the humor, it's got the insanity, it's got the campy fun that is Wonder Woman. And when we're talking about a young Wonder Woman, you have to find the right actress to do it. And I think I found somebody who could potentially pull off a miracle. Maybe not a miracle, but could do something really fun. My choice for a young Wonder Woman is a nepotism baby. Sydney Chandler, who is Kyle Chandler's daughter and recently starred in the show Pistol on FX. I didn't love the show, but every time she was on screen, I was drawn to her performance because she had a certain look to her that was so intense and ravishing, and every time she was on screen, I fell in love with what she was doing. It was beautiful. It was powerful. She was fascinating to watch, and I think she'd be a great Diana. A little younger than the other people I've cast before, but I think she could pull it off immensely and do something powerful. And when you have such a talented young actress like that, you need a director that's able to pull their weight and do some fun stuff. So my director for this Wonder Woman film is Stacey Passon, and she is a person who has been working for a long time, notably on shows like House of Cards and The Punisher and American Gods. These are franchise shows, essentially, with big action ideas, big political ideas, taking things into some interesting directions. She seems like she'd be a great fit for a Wonder Woman story, and I'd love to see what she could do with a big budget like that. Wonder Woman's such a fun character. She's so important to a lot of people, and I really want to just emulate the love and respect this character exudes to the world. So it's going to be a little silly, it's going to be a little intense, it's going to be a little annoying to some males in the audience, but at the end of the day, that's what a good Wonder Woman should do. It should make you think, it should make you smile, it should make you be proud to be a woman and break free of the bondages that men have put you in. I want that to be something we see on screen. I want that to be something we emulate. And I think this talent with this story could do something very special with that. So that is how we're going to Batman up Wonder Woman. And thank you guys for watching this video, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Of course, if you have any ideas or characters you'd like to see me talk about on this channel, please let me know, and I'd love to Batman them up for you. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck. That's the Wonder Woman thing, right? Yeah. Later.